Hey folks, it's Kary Oberbrunner. Welcome to Blockchain Life. I have my original guest back in action, Eric Diaz. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great, Carrie. The crypto markets, they have, calmed down a little bit.
Hmm.
But I'm sure we'll speak about today, I think this is where it's time to get really excited about,
Yes.
blockchain, the tech, because, times like this is where, a lot of things calm down and allows people to build.
Yes.
You
In
know,
fact, we were chatting about that. I'm gonna switch my lighting here. There we go. So we were talking about that before we started, but for those that don't know, we have bear markets and bull markets, correct? Bull markets are when things are going very well for the investor,
yes.
and then the bear market is when times are tough.
Yeah, essentially in all markets, stock markets, all types of markets, naturally there are periods where assets appreciate and there's periods where they don't perform as well, and
Yes.
kind of where you're positioned as an investor, it can benefit you in both ways, because there are assets that perform better during bear markets, and there
Mhm.
obviously most assets perform best during bull markets versus bear markets. However, what I would say is that you know long term in any market that you can look at, the S&P 500, you know, top 500 companies, American companies in the stock market, everybody uses that as a benchmark when you're looking at the stock market specifically. If you zoom out, no matter what crash you look at, if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, it's always going up long term.
Mm, I
And
love it.
yeah, very similar as well with crypto markets. It's always going up long term. And,
Yeah.
reasons for that may being include, for example, inflation.
Mm,
So markets, since, what they do is they value the underlying asset, whatever it may be, according to its value in society, whether what the investor is willing to pay, etc. That
mhm,
changes over time naturally
mhm.
with
Yep, keep rolling.
inflation.
I'm just refreshing my camera. You got it.
Okay, yeah. And it also changes over time naturally, just with performance. And as you see, especially with crypto we're speaking to right now, more people are coming to adopt the technology. There's more
Yes.
use cases to the technology, more people being educated about it. And what's very interesting is, just to kind of close off on this, if you look at the traditional stock market, there
Mhm,
are trillions and trillions of dollars invested in there. So
mhm,
let's say 1 trillion of capital is removed from the market. It might be a slight downturn,
mm,
because imagine it's a huge pool of money. 1 trillion is just a smaller portion at this point. You take it out, there might be a small drop in value, small
mhm.
relative, to what we're speaking to as crypto now. So whereas with crypto, I think at its peak, the total overall market was just like 3 trillion,
Mm.
which is not a lot, compared to the traditional market. So if there's $1 trillion worth of, capital withdrawn from the market, that'd be a 33% decline, you
Wow.
know? So it becomes more drastic just because the size of the market isn't as large. But over time, as it matures, as we've seen, things like that might not affect the price going forward.
I love it. I love it. I was in Miami this week.
Hmm.
I call it the crypto capital of the world. Some people disagreed with me online, but I know there's always things going on there. And when I was down there, I was talking with a gentleman, and I'm not going to say his name, but he's into AI, he's into artificial intelligence. And
Hmm.
we were in a meeting together, and he was saying, "Oh, Kary, I think crypto's done."
Oh yeah. Hmm.
And he said, I think the metaverse is all hype. And he was saying all this stuff, and I'm kind of looking at him like, what? Where is he getting this? Because I mean, I've read books on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin especially, and so many times people have said it's dead.
Hmm.
It's China banned it, Russia banned it, it's over, it's done. And there's this guy named Andreas Anatopoulos who says that Bitcoin is like that sewer rat that keeps getting coming back, even though it's got more and more attacks. It keeps coming back, keeps coming back. So I wasn't even worried. when this guy was talking.
Yeah.
And I think it's honestly, but yet this summer I was worried. Remember?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I remember.
remember that? Because I
Mhm.
got in probably not a ton of money, but I got in just a little bit of money. I was new to the game. I was new to NFTs, new to Metaverse back in, I want to say March, April, May when it was high.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, June and July, it kind of dipped. And I remember calling you like anxious, thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? You
Yeah.
know, but then this time, just like you, when we chatted before we started today, I have not been worried at all. And I'm just going to share some of the recent headlines so people can realize what's going on this week. And I know this will date the podcast, but at least people can hear what has happened. Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard
Activision. Mhm.
for something like $75 billion or something
Yes.
crazy. So that's big. Microsoft.
That is insanely huge.
It's huge. And what I've realized is that in my studies, because I've been studying a lot, man,
Mhm.
but Unity Engine and Unreal Engine are video game platforms.
Yes.
And this is where the metaverse is really coming into the space through video game engines. Would you agree?
Yeah, video games is a huge way which the metaverse is coming to be. I think when people consider metaverse also, what's very interesting about metaverse is, yes, so easy way to understand it is that, let's say you can enter a virtual world where, people are interacting through, like, let's say a video game platform in this
Mhm.
virtual world. But if you ask me, metaverse isn't so much a location like the video game. I'd say it's
True.
more so, excuse me?
I would say absolutely true. I believe it's the interoperability of the metaverse platforms. In other words, just like I can be on the internet and I literally have like 15 browsers open,
Mhm.
but in the metaverse, I'll be one avatar, but I can go to all the worlds.
Yes. I think metaverse, if you ask me, is more a period of time in just like human civilization.
I agree.
It's where, we take a step further in our integration into technology.
Yes,
If you were to ask me, I believe me and you are interacting in the metaverse as we speak right now.
I agree. That's so
Mhm.
funny because when people say metaverse, I don't get it. I say, you know what? We've been flirting with the metaverse for
Mhm.
years. I say, listen, when you go to your smartphone and you open up a Starbucks app and you show the Starbucks barista and they scan it and you're earning stars that count for future drinks. I say, you know what? You're kind of flirting with the metaverse, but we just haven't fully integrated it. It's like we've been between the web 2 and web 3. Even when I'm talking to you, Eric, in person,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of checking my phone and I'm on Facebook, I'm kind of 2 places at once. I'm
Yeah.
physically with you, but I'm posting on Facebook, and so my attention's not fully with you. And
Mhm.
I think that this is why I wrote my book Unhackable, because I think we all felt that, you were getting hacked when you were trying to balance 2 worlds. But I think in the metaverse where we're going, I think it's gonna be connected.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an immersion of, your physical reality and what we use today as the internet, which, you know, we're already very close to that, Kara.
Yes.
We all use the internet every day, whether it's for social media, for shopping, for
Yes.
education, all these things. And now it becomes more of a seamless interaction. And
Yes.
blockchain allows, for economic incentives now and for digital ownership and things like
Yes.
that. So as you see, like, now we're getting closer. It's just becoming a closer thing where,
I like that.
you know, just being in this virtual space, I feel like before, as the internet came to be, people fought it. Kind of like the guy that you mentioned was downplaying cryptocurrency and
Yes.
metaverse. It's hype, it's
Mhm.
all of that. People said similar things about the internet. And, if you're saying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and Metaverse are a fad and they're going away, you're basically saying the internet's a fad because they're just facilities that operate on the internet, you know?
It's true. Oh, I'm so with you. I'm so with
Mhm.
you. Um, I love what we're chatting about. Another thing is I've told people when they say, "What's the metaverse?" I say, because they're like, "Oh, it's just a video game." I say, "Listen, it's a video game where your choices have real consequences.
Mhm.
It's not like where your guy jumps off Mario and then you die and you quote die in the game. I'm talking about like you can literally invest in land and
Mhm.
sign contracts. I
Yeah.
mean, you can make legit decisions in the metaverse that have real consequences.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it comes economic incentivization. I was reading the other day, well, as you mentioned, Walmart
Yes, Walmart this week
is
filed papers over the holiday.
yeah, to basically create their own metaverse where people can then, I guess, virtually shop in their, virtual world. And I
Mhm.
guess either this could be while you're at the parking lot, you virtually shop real quick and they bring it out to your car, or you virtually shop and then it tells you when to pick it up at the store or they deliver it and things like that. And I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. I suggest anybody out there, Googles it, Walmart metaverse, virtual reality, and you'll quickly see that
Ooh, that's good. I have
it's
not done that yet.
there's this video and it's insane, and what you see is people it's like somebody's shopping online, they're like grabbing things off the shelf, putting it in their cart, and then out of nowhere, like the shelves like go down and then new shelves pop up and you're in a new aisle and you can like pick something up and look at it and like the details pop up about it and
That's
you can
crazy,
add
man.
to cart or not add to cart. So they're looking to do something similar to that. And
Wow.
I think things like that only help businesses and their exposure and just different ways for people, to interact with their brand, with the Walmart brand, with shopping and things like that.
Absolutely.
The Activision thing that you mentioned,
Yeah.
for people that don't know what that is, some of the world's most popular video games, Call of Duty
Yes.
by Activision. I'm not, the biggest Call of Duty player, but I think anybody that's ever played video games has played Call of Duty.
Mhm.
So that is huge. And Microsoft recently announced their metaverse, and they said that they made this purchase to further engage with their metaverse mindset and what they see in mind.
It's
So if you have
crazy.
some of, like, let's say the arguably one of the biggest video games, which is Call of Duty, has been around for years. It
Mhm.
has, for sure contributed to the rise in video games, just
Mhm.
popularity, you know, and you're telling me that they're not integrating with, a metaverse focused company. There's going to be a crossover there where you start to see NFTs and things like that within the
Yes.
video game, and it's going to be huge. A
Do you see my screen?
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Look at this, man. And by the way, when I first saw this, I was overwhelmed a few weeks ago, but now I've been studying it and I'm not that overwhelmed because you look at the top, it says Metaverse Market Map, and then it says experiences, discovery, creator economy,
Mhm.
spatial computing, decentralize, then it has human interface and infrastructure. And so what I think people who don't really understand the metaverse, I think what we're saying is it's the interconnectivity of all these things. Like in the past, things were very cumbersome. If I wanted to send you money on a webinar or something, it's like very cumbersome.
Mhm.
PayPal has to talk to your email, which has to talk to, your wallet, which has to talk to your bank. There's like all these steps, and it takes a long time. But with 5G,
Mhm.
see, like 5G on top of all these things, now we're ready for the first time in human history. We can almost handle it, where in the past we couldn't handle it with 3G or 4G.
Yeah, yeah. It's essentially what it comes to be is just this. What you showed there was metaverse market cap, and it's all these companies which somewhat in some way contribute to the internet. I saw internet connection companies. I saw chip companies. I saw,
Mm,
blockchain companies. I
yeah.
saw device
Crypto.
yeah, exactly, blockchain companies, crypto. I saw, product companies, Apple, you know, and then you have all these infrastructure
Netflix.
companies
Yeah.
that hold, the what we're speaking on right now. Somebody's hosting this site on a server. That's Amazon, things like that. Cloud companies, you see video game companies, and all these things come together. And like I said, it's just becomes a deeper integration into our
Hmm.
everyday lives, and it's just going to continue to moving forward. I think it's something important to embrace.
Hmm.
If you kind of, if you ask me, I've been very vocal about this. Like the metaverse is something that you can either embrace or you don't have to embrace, but you'll just end up and you'll have to.
Yes.
It's kind of like it's gonna
You'll
be.
be going to a food line at a restaurant, and just like you would say someday, I don't want to use a screen to order.
Mm,
That's how you do it now.
exactly, things like that. A lot of people, if you notice from the pandemic, there's a lot of headlines where people work from home.
Right.
There's digital offices where people, work from remote locations. I know you have experience with that,
Hmm.
and that doesn't mean that the company or the people working don't produce, effective work or good
Right.
work. That
It
doesn't
might
mean
even be better.
it can be better or just as good as anybody in an office, you
Yes.
know, at a more comfortable, you know, location or way to work for, the employee or the company and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's something that I don't think anybody should write off.
Yes.
There's gonna be, of course, people that doubt this. As you see, let me give you an example. So I'm sure a lot of people interact with Twitter.
Yep.
If you ask me,
Yeah.
Twitter
Yeah.
is one of my favorite platforms to, get a pulse on whatever community I want to know what people are saying.
Right.
I follow a lot of investment, stock market accounts. I follow a lot of crypto accounts, and I use it every day to kind of have a gauge on the pulse or the sentiment
Hmm.
of people in the community. And I believe this is also the case for a lot of other people. Some people use Twitter for entertainment purposes. I know, Kary, you engage a lot with other authors and people in the publishing space, and you can kind of gauge a pulse in the community. And Twitter is very big.
Yes.
However, the founder of Twitter, the
Jack Dorsey.
CEO, Jack Dorsey, recently left Twitter. And the reason that had occurred was, believe it or not, Jack Dorsey was a Bitcoin maximalist, and he did
Hmm.
not believe in like Ethereum or NFTs or decentralized applications. So even him being so big didn't believe in that, and he eventually just had to leave Twitter. And as soon as he left Twitter, as you see now, there's a lot of crypto integration that goes deeper
Yes.
and further into that. And they recently announced a feature where you can have um, NFT profile pictures verified. Like
Yes.
before, somebody would screenshot their NFT and put it there, and then you could have the same screenshot of my NFT and put it as your profile picture. Well, now they have a verification system.
That's interesting. And in fact, you before we started today, you
Mhm.
just showed me how. And now my profile picture on Twitter is my show up, filled up book, which is a
Exactly,
legit
NFT.
NFT.
hmm And it
That's
shows
nuts.
it as a hexagon, so it stands out. What I'm going to say is that this is something that you know, even though the markets might not be performing at an optimal place, for people that might be invested in it, things like
Mhm.
that. I think this is the time for you to get even more excited
Oh,
because
I'm excited.
it gives you an opportunity to learn, kind of like at a calmer pace. When things are going great and hectic, you have people telling you in your ear, hey, invest in this. Hey,
Right.
this, it gets a little hectic, which I don't mind, right? Crypto is
Right.
very fast. It's going to continue to be very fast. But with a downturn in the markets, it kind of gives you, you know, a calm setting to continue to learn and then maybe continue to build. It gives you a chance to integrate, better. When things are going really well, everybody's moving fast, very fast. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do this. When there's a downturn, when there's a bear market, some of the best companies in the world
That's so
arise
good.
from a bear market and things like that, because that's when you really can build and you can work towards something. And
Man,
like I
that is so good. I love that.
Yeah.
And I just read today, because I started subscribing to these publications,
Hmm.
and you remember Eric. I mean, I'm the classic guy who says, remember the summer when things were going crazy, and I just said, I don't get all this stuff. Remember that? I said, I'm not. I actually went through a period where I'm like, I'm done.
Hmm.
There was too much coming. My head was spinning. I didn't know what currency was what coin was what, who I should trust, who's fake, who's being real, what's a scam. And there was a period of time where I'm like, man, I just need to take a break. And I did. I took a break. But then what's interesting is I saw it more and more, and I saw it building. I want to show a slide here, Eric.
Sure.
One that really helped me recently. Um, it's not super high res, but just hang with me. Because I've been reading, I've been listening, but can you see this?
Of course.
Okay, so this is interesting. Have you ever seen something like this before?
The diagram. What is
Yeah.
it? A Venn diagram?
Yeah, I'm going to show you this. Watch this. So VR, virtual reality,
Hmm.
AR, augmented reality,
Yeah.
MR, mixed reality, and where these three converge is XR, extended reality.
Hmm.
And this is interesting, and it really helped me because I'm very visual. And I heard people talk about VR and goggles, and some people think, oh, you need goggles to get into the metaverse. Actually, you don't. You can have goggles,
Hmm.
Oculus or others that are, that help accentuate the metaverse. Don't worry about my camera. Everyone's online right now in my neighborhood, and my son and everything. So I keep
Yeah.
flaking out. But then augmented reality is kind of like that Van Gogh show that a lot of people are watching that's touring, at least in our city, where screens move, or you can hold up your phone over a piece of art and it comes alive, right?
Hmm.
And then mixed reality are like different components that you don't know what's real and what's not. I mean, it's really the Matrix one, like, but then, but but then extended reality is this interconnectivity that you're saying, where you don't know where it starts and stops,
Hmm.
and people are playing a video game and they're like, whoa, and it'll have real effects. Someone could literally ring their doorbell and they've won a food item that they competed for in the game. Like, there's just going to be this seamless interconnection.
Yeah, and then
What do you
I just
think?
want to point out that that's very true. But people, the goggles and the glasses,
Yeah.
people are going to be skeptical about that, and they're not going to think that's a thing. Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually, over time, that's just naturally going to be a part of society. It's not going to be these bulky goggles. It's going to be something like maybe you're wearing glasses and you're driving in the road, and the glasses somehow like shows you like pothole coming. Be aware.
Yeah, it's almost like, see, we're so close to it. Like right now, a lot of us drive with Waze,
Hmm.
WAZE, that
Yeah,
says
exactly.
potholes coming, but it's made up of other drivers ahead of you. But you're saying like the glasses and goggles will even take it to the next level.
Yeah,
I mean, it
and
can. I agree with
you
you. I
you
agree.
see it already with technologies like Tesla.
Yes.
Self-driving cars, what they work to do is something, to us, self-driving cars, like, okay, but if you dive deeper, what they're looking to do is that they look to mimic all the perceptive abilities, which some of us don't understand are extremely complex and highly advanced, that we have in our brain, that interacts with
Yes.
our eyes, our ears, what we smell, all of those things. To be a car that self-drives, we use all of these things while we're driving. For example, while we're driving, we might not necessarily be looking directly at the traffic light, but we can see like it turns red. We're not looking directly at it. We can, this perceptive ability. We can
Yes.
see a car on the side and we're looking straight forward. Things like this. So all of these things, what they look to do is basically have code that is able to program and mimic a human brain.
I
Very,
love that.
very interesting stuff. And then, what does this tie into blockchain? Blockchain creates, this ledger where you can't mess with these things. If somebody, you can bring, let's say, an economy into the digital world. So it becomes, like I said, we're working towards this. It's just coming closer and closer with technology. I've
Yes.
mentioned it before on the podcast. People need to consider that. People think stuff like this might not be reality or might not come
Oh,
true.
it's
But
crazy, man.
the we started with the wheel and like fire, like as like
Yeah,
cavemen, things like that, and then over time, naturally, we as humans progress, and it's just been like I said, these two lines, just technology and humans, and there's just this integration into human life that is just going to continue to get closer.
it's unbelievable. Couple things on this point. I've been reading a really good book. You ever hear the name Kathy Hackle?
I have not.
Okay, she's known as the godmother of the metaverse.
hmm
That's the nickname she's got.
Okay.
But this book called The Augmented Workforce.
hmm
Okay, it's one of her books. She doesn't write a lot. She normally consults with brands that are getting into blockchain, NFTs, and that type of thing. But I thought she defined it really well. She said Web 1 was information. Okay, so Web 1 was information. Web 2 was people,
hmm
like social media, all these platforms. Web 3 is people, places, and things. I thought that was pretty good. Just a simple way to explain things. Another thing she says is that we're always worried about robots replacing humans. And the more I'm reading this book, I don't think it's like that. I think it's, if you've heard of the term cobots, not robots, but cobots, we're kind of in that phase right now where robots can and will work alongside humans to
hmm
make things more efficient. What do you think about that?
Oh no, definitely. There are companies out there working on robots that, for example, some people, don't like that concept because I guess lower skilled jobs that can be performed by robots then displace workers.
Mm,
But I think that's just natural progression over time has always been a thing with technology. That's
mhm.
not anything new. But they can then take humans out of just jobs that humans don't want to do. So, you
True.
know, me and you, Carrie, I'd say, we're blessed enough to do things that we might be passionate about every
Mm,
day. But there are people that just do jobs because they have to get paid and they don't enjoy the job. They don't want to do it. That can take that out for just like the human process of things that can be removed from humans. There's people that, work in a factory and they just do a very repetitive process over and over again every day.
yes,
I'm sure they're not passionate about it, but it's a job. And if you say, okay, then it displaces that worker is bad for the economy, I guess you say so. But then it creates this alternate, you know, I guess, motive in humans to pursue something they're actually passionate about because these repetitive, boring jobs are now done by robots. Humans no longer have to, are used for that kind of thing. So
I
now
agree.
humans naturally, can progress to something different, just in overall, like, a sense of what humans do.
I
Um,
agree.
but what also robots can do is they can, like I said, these repetitive, boring jobs can be taken out. Um, Dangerous jobs can now be performed by robots too.
Mm,
The people that perform dangerous jobs every day, they're compensated for it.
yes,
But unfortunately, lives can be lost, limbs can be lost,
yes,
things like that. So these are things that robots like kind of coexist with humans and perform these things, and
I
the same
agree.
humans.
I agree. I even think it's, the robot assisted jobs.
hmm
And at least in this book, it talked about people, and I'm not saying the PC term correctly, but people that have mental challenges
hmm
could essentially, with robot assistance, perform even to create more value.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So it's just like, oh, someone has a prosthetic leg.
Mhm.
Okay, that's technological assistance to do something physically better. Why could we not do something that's mentally assisted?
Yeah, no, like I said, now that's something that gets a little crazy. Like even for me, it sounds crazy.
No, no, but it's happening.
No, it is. It is. Like you said, there's people with, unfortunately, they have disabilities, whether it may
Yeah,
be speech impairments or things like that. You know,
it's totally
and
happening. Yeah, like I hear like we've had this, and this is what I want people to realize. Like we've had hearing aids, which is a very elementary version of a machine helping you hear.
mhm.
But all of a sudden we're like, whoa, but a machine helping you think, that's nuts. Well, we've been flirting with this for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, and it all interconnects. Like I said, like you put the metaverse market cap, all these things we're speaking about fall somewhere in there,
It's crazy, man.
and as what brought us here, blockchain technology allows
Yeah.
for all of these things to have digital value and hold that digital value and
Yes.
have transferable digital value. And like I said, as we go forward, all these things will continue to connect further
Yes.
and connect better, and it becomes more immersive for humans. And you know, even as we're speaking right now, we're in the metaverse. People are listening
Sure.
to us right now in the metaverse, and it'll become more evident to them, as they
Yeah.
go along.
Well, listen, we'll close today, but we'll close with one thought. You've heard the term, at least I've heard it. It's been around now for almost as long as you've been alive, Eric. But it's called IoT, Internet of
Of things, yes.
Things. All right, you ready for this? Watch this. The new term, and maybe you've heard this already, is IOE, the Internet of Everything.
Yeah.
Because Kathy talks about this in the book. Like, it's not just IoT anymore. Like the
Mhm.
whole reason we're crossing the threshold into Web3 is because of IOE,
Mhm.
and it's true, man. I am so excited. I just came back from Miami, and I was in this workshop,
Mhm.
and and I was talking about some of this stuff, and some of the people were like, "What?" Like they're. And I get it. I get it. And I probably know very little compared to the experts, but I'm so excited. This is the best time to be alive. Eric, I'm gonna give you the last word. I'm gonna refresh my camera, but give us the last word on should we be optimistic or scared and fearful?
Mhm.
Give us the thought.
Well, one last thing I'd like to say is I've been a part of, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency markets since I say 2016. And I think, my self-development in the space, understanding as well as, positioning myself for the future, all of that came to be when people were talking about it being a bear market, or the market wasn't flourishing as it has been within the past
Mm,
few years. And it all came from that time period where people weren't talking about it, but I understood what the technology brought to the table. As people are probably speak about it, I don't think people speak about it less, as we're still seeing headlines being made every day about the technology. But just because, let's say the markets aren't flourishing, I don't say don't stop paying attention. Like, continue to learn. That's where you make, advancements that help you, because while people might not be, furthering bettering themselves about the space or learning and things like that, that's where you do. And then when the market flourishes, you're ready. You know what you've been learning. Maybe you started building something, a company that interacts with blockchain, or you learned and know where you want to position yourself for the technology
mm.
for the future, things like that. You know where to look. And I think this is the perfect time to do that. I think it's the best time to be excited about the technology. For me, at least, it's the best time to be excited. You see a lot of people get washed out, people that are there, for a cash grab or for the show
Yes,
and things like that. That's when those people are washed out, and you essentially, is your biggest chance to grow.
I love it, man. This is so good today. Eric, thank you so much. And we'd love to hear people respond in the comments, questions, thoughts, agreements, disagreements. Let's keep the conversation going. And Eric, we'll talk with you again very